Copper World Classic, but it's not typical Arizona weather. It's very cold and blustery here. And as a prelude to all the stock car activity in Florida this month, we are going to present to you late model racing. And on the front row, a couple of late model standouts, one from the Midwest, Ted Musgrave, and from Denver, Colorado, Rick Corelli. But the Deep South is well represented in this field.
Very well. We have Ken Schrader today, who was last year's pole sitter at Daytona. We have Harry Gant, who has a new Dillon car today and a new team for Daytona. And we also have one guy that you folks might recognize, AJ Foyt's here also.
AJ, of course, a former winner at Daytona, and our Gary Lee is with him now.
It was 25 years ago that Supertech's AJ Foyt won the first ever race contested here at Phoenix. Now, since then, he's won a few more and some national titles and some stock car titles with USAC, but I understand this is your first ride in a late model. So why this late in the career do you come out here for the first time?
Well, Marion Collins and Gary Collins has run the car for quite a bit. I was going to be out here doing some testing with little Tony George, and George Snyder's good friends with them. And we got to talking. They wanted to know if I wanted to race while I was out here, and I said, why not? So Gary's nice enough to let me drive his car. He's won a lot of races in, so we're just going to try to have a lot of fun and try to win a race.
Every time the fans think you're about to slow down, you do something otherwise. You told me last fall you had sold part of your interest in the Chevrolet dealership to really devote more time to racing, so you're making a concerted effort once again this season.
Well, that's quite true. I'll be able to spend more time racing, having some fun before I have to leave this old cruel world, and so I'm going to do something I want to do.
How'd you avoid the rookie stripes in the back out here?
I really need them, I'll tell you.
Supertech's AJ Foyt starting outside the second row in Gary Collins, number 28.
Usually in winter, we come to Phoenix, Arizona to avoid the winter. It didn't work out this year. The temperature says it's 51 degrees, but the wind makes it feel much lower than that. It's showing at 12 miles per hour, humidity 26%, and the chance of rain 15%, but it's not a typically pleasant Phoenix day. The starting grid is beginning to roll off. There goes AJ Foyt, Roman Kalzinski, one of the stars of the Southwest. Harry Gant goes by, and there is Motor Eddie, Ed Ash. A lot of the engines that he has constructed power many of the cars in this field. The starting grid, starting from the bottom, Ted Musgrave, the pole setter, Rick Corelli on the outside. Then Ken Peterson and A.J. Foyt. In row 3, Harry Gant from the Deep South, and a star out here, Roman Kalzinski. In row number 4 on the inside is Ed Ash and Ken Schrader, another of the NASCAR racers, on his right side. In row number 5, Jerry Scheil from Houston, Texas, and Garrett Evans. In the 6th row, Jerry Bowers, a star at Phoenix, and Ron Hornaday Jr., Row 7, Ray Hooper Jr. and Danny Crofton. In the 8th row, Hilton Vale and Ray Neveu. In the 9th row, this is 17th and 18th position, Beebe and Sedgwick. And in the 10th row, Darrell Stewart and Ron Brown. In row number 11, Randy Moore in car 34, flanked by Scott Lee in car number 26. And then Jay Watson and Jim Thurkettle, a 3-time winner. Ronnie Esau and Greg Biffle make up row number 13. And the 14th row is J.D. Hughes, a former winner here, and Jay Sauter. The 15th row, Larry Gray, he flipped on the front stretch a year ago, and car number 3, Harry Brady. And Steve, here is Kenny Schrader. We're accustomed to seeing him on the high banks in the Deep South, but here at Phoenix today.
He brought his own car up. He wanted to drive this stock car race real bad, and he brought his own car, and he feels real comfortable in it today.
Here's Jim Thurkettle. Now, he did not have as good a qualifying time as he would like to have had. He's the only driver to win 3 consecutive years out here.
Jim's an old-time racer that I raced with back in 1965 in stock cars.
That makes you more than 29, right?
Just barely.
Now, here's a familiar name and face, Harry Gant, still hobbling on crutches, Steve.
He's still hobbling on crutches, but in a race car, he looks like he's fit. He looks real good today.
And he was very strong in the Busch Grand National cars, reasonably similar to these in the late part of 1988. Car number 39 is a graduate of all things of Formula Open Wheel Racing. He came from the driver's schools. This is Ken Peterson from the San Francisco area.
Well, you know, I've always said a lot of these racetracks, road courses and oval courses, always have corners that are the same.
Yeah, you have to stand on the gas pedal just about the same way. Coming down for the green flag, we have a start, and Ted Musgrave, the man who sat on the pole, not a new track record, takes the initial lead.
Made a nice move on the start, got the line, a little sideways there, but he saves it, pulls out a good lead on the first lap.
So it's Musgrave with last year's winner, Rick Corelli, running in second, and Ken Peterson from the West Coast. And we have a spin already. That's the number 70 of Ray Hooper. He's on the outside. Also involved is Harry Brady. It looks like Greg Biffle is also. There's Ron Esau going down through the dust. Steve, did you see it develop?
I saw it. I did. All you see is the 70 car against the fence, and then there's so much traffic, everyone's trying to avoid couple other guys lost it, and then pretty soon it's just total mayhem with the dust. You can't really see what happens.
Yeah, you know, out here in the Southwest, you get down in the infield, and it's pretty dry down there, isn't it?
It is, except for right here where Buddy Job has put out this nice grass. The rest of the infield is just solid dust, and when someone gets in the infield, it destroys your vision.
Well, all this happening on the initial attempt to start this race, so we will have to restack the starting grid and go to a complete restart lineup here for the 12th annual Copper World Classic. There is AJ Foyt on the outside of Peterson.
And we just saw a shot of his IndyCar hauler for, he's supposed to be out here next week testing his IndyCar.
So because no official lap was recorded, we'll be back for the hopefully official restart of today's contest. Today's race is being brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. Harry Gant, Ken Schrader, AJ Foyt. And today's contest will be a part of this 20 of 29 Winston Cup races broadcast live in 1989 on ESPN. Coming down for the restart, we have a green flag, and Musgrave again gets the jump shot.
Same exact move. He makes a straight line from the middle of the corner right down to his turn-in point. Has the same start and the same lead as he did the last lap. Except here comes AJ Foyt around the outside this time. Got a great start in the second position.
Foyt, an entirely different picture on this second start. AJ Foyt had dropped back to fourth on the first restart. Now he moves up to second in front of Rick Corelli, last year's winner. There goes Ken Peterson in that white and orange number 39, coming down to complete the official lap number 1. Ted Musgrave out of Wisconsin. Ted Musgrave, let's call him. Helping us out on the broadcast today, Gary Lee, and he's got his first report for us from down along pit road. No pit stops planned.
Gary Collins knows his way around this racetrack as well as anybody, but today he's running the team for AJ Foyt. You did some coaching on that first start, didn't you?
Yeah, he wanted it out. He said third gear, fourth gear. I told him we need a third gear start so I can run with him a little harder.
The first start was not so good for him. The early yellow came out. The restart was much, much better. He's now riding second. What's the team's strategy?
Well, I told him he was driving as hard as he could because it's only 40 laps, and Musgrave's on a little softer set of tires than we are. I hope when the heat comes in ours, they'll be able to run him down a little bit.
There's still a lot of infighting in the back of the pack. The competition is really, and we have a spin. It appears to be Greg Biffle. Greg was involved in that. Yes, it is. It's Biffle. He was involved in the first lap crash, but unlike that one, he appears to be alone in this one. Kenny Schrader, who started in the mid-pack, Steve, we expected him to be among the front runners. He's in for an unexpected pit stop.
This looks like an unexpected pit stop. They're going to start jacking the left side up here and change rubber now. You wouldn't expect him to be in this early, so it must have had some other reason.
Kenny Schrader, who has had much success here at this racetrack in the Valvoline Silver Crown cars, but not so much success with the stock cars, coming in to change left side tires. Now, this is a very early yellow. It will put him at the back of the pack, but he still has ample time to be competitive here at Phoenix.
Well, they changed 4 tires, but there was a crewman who reached in there and pulled out something else, Steve.
To me, it looked like it was the mirror bar, the full-length mirror that goes across the front roll bar, and it looked like Kenny was taking it loose, like maybe it came loose, and they got it out of the way so it wouldn't fall during the race.
Well, Ted Musgrave, who qualified almost 2 miles per hour faster than the entire field here, has led the first few laps here at the Phoenix International Raceway. And I'll tell you, when he steps on the throttle, she responds.
He has a lot of engine in that car. He seems to be stronger than anybody else there so far. AJ's running good, but he's certainly not catching him at all.
Well, Musgrave, who won in ARTCO, ASA, and in All-Pro in 1988-89, the only driver in America to complete all of that, will also be running with ARCA and possibly some selected Winston races, running in the Busch Grand National Series this season here in the Deep South.
We saw a little picture of Harry Gant there a moment ago. That's a new Dillon car he's running here, and he has high hopes of doing well with that car. But there's a quick guy right there.
Since 1982, only 3 drivers have won stock car Copper World, and one of them is in that red number 5, Jim Thurkettle, and Gary Lee is in his pits.
Well, Don, this could be a rags to riches story for this team this weekend. It didn't start out so well, but it looks real good right now.
Everything's going real good. He says the car's running strong. He's going to cool the tires a little bit and just stay on the pace right now.
Steve, last year this stock car race took over 2 hours to run. That was a year ago because of all the yellow flags. So Third Kettle, a veteran out here, knows he's going to have some more chances.
He'll have some more chances, and Harry Gant's got a chance right now. He gets tight on the back of Peterson, but he just can't seem to get by him. He's working and working. He's trying the outside line.
Harry Gant, his first ever Copper Classic. Ken Peterson, the young Beach Boy appearing driver from the San Francisco area. And they are following last year's champion, the High Plains drifter from Denver, Colorado, Rick Corelli. Corelli's smart on this racetrack. He could be conserving tires.
He could be, but he's running pretty hard. You notice the car took a whole side slide that time. He can't run much faster than he is. And it's a tough battle for third, fourth, and fifth.
Car number 39 moving to the inside, Ken Peterson. Remember, this is the Formula car driver. Until a year ago, he had never sat in a stock car. He says, however, the route to riches, if you will, the big time, is more clearly defined in stock cars.
Nice race for fourth and fifth here. There's Gant on the outside. That's where the fast line is. Gets a good run off the corner and gets by Peterson pretty good.
And someone else indicating he's interested in getting into this fray is the sixth running Jerry Bowers, the Meridian, Idaho racer. He's the fourth car on the screen there, sixth in the race.
Peterson doesn't want to give it up. He made a nice dive to the inside. Now, 197, that's the first number I ever had on my very first stock car in 1964.
Shades of Red Farmer from the Deep South, but today that belongs to Ted Musgrave. He's another second-generation driver. His father, Elmer, came out of the Chicagoland area stocks in the 1950s and ran many times in the mild dirts in USAC. There's AJ Foyt running in second. They're running first and second, but the third position is very much up for grabs.
Oh, yes, it is. You see Peterson's right there. It's one little mistake by Harry Gant, and Peterson's going to get back by because he seemed to have enough engine to hold Harry off until he got in a passing situation in the middle of a corner.
I know you're used to seeing Harry Gant in green and white. Today he's in almost pure white. That's Harry on the outside of number 6, Rick Corelli. Harry Gant is putting the pressure on Rick Corelli, coming down, challenging for the number 3 spot. I think Harry's got him.
He's got him fast. You know, it's amazing how a guy like Harry Gant didn't take him long to find the outside groove here. Most of these guys will never find it, but Harry found it. He's going right to the front.
Well, it took him a while to get around Peterson. Peterson is that orange and white number 39 that goes by right there. But now, once Harry has disposed of Corelli and Peterson, let's see what he's got. Does Gant have enough to catch Foyt and to catch Ted Musgrave? Ted Musgrave continues to dominate, and there is Peterson almost losing control.
That's what you call a tank slapper. That's one side to the other. Darn good
motorcycle racing, right? That's
right.
tank slapping.
That's right.
Another interesting story is Kenny Schrader, that red and white number 52 from the back of the pack after a pit stop. Out of control. It's not Schrader. It's Ray Neveu. Ray Neveu not touched from behind, simply losing control as he came off of turn number 4. Surely this will bring out the yellow flag, so we'll take an opportunity to take a break. Here is the leaderboard with Ted Musgrave continuing to set the pace here at PIR. Okay, after the Neveu crash in the front stretch, we'll go back to racing here. That orange and black 7 is Jerry Scheil from the Houston, Texas area, somewhat of a protege of AJ Foyt. He says he's sponsored him off and on for the last 10 years. We've got a spin in turn number 1. It's Motor Eddie. Ed Ash is involved. 3, 4 other cars also tangled up. Some of the leaders were involved, Steve.
That's right. There's Peterson, either third or fourth. He got through, had some sheet metal hanging off his car, but I think the leaders all got through.
Well, Ash did not lose control. There appeared to be another car right behind him. There is